was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. Ain't no truth on the radio station. Somebody owes me an explanation. Well, I get knocked down, I get back up.
The Sportsocracy.
And I'm unapologetic. Well, I get knocked down, I get back up.
What up?
Anything they ask you, do it.
It's Senior Bowl Day. It is the day that we waited for. I turned that off way too quick, but that's okay. Still getting reacclimated to the buttons. Still getting reacclimated to having another screen, which is sweet. It's Senior Bowl Day. This is the day we waited for. The game means way less than the practices did. I know that, but we missed some content just solely having to get out of Mobile. We missed some content just solely having to avoid snowstorms and other shit like that. So we're gonna hang out and watch the game, see if anything jumps off on the tape here that we didn't see in Mobile. Bill Workman's in the chat. Appreciate all his work through what we've had of the draft season so far, what will continue to be his work through the draft season so far. We have our first casualty of the draft season, the windscreen on my microphone. I have no freaking clue where it is. And oddly enough, with 58 mics in my possession, I don't have one in my possession in this house. And it snowed about 7 inches outside. So will probably be like this for a couple of days. So I apologize for all of these P's that sound so aggressive. Nothing I can do about it. So, sorry. Should be kicking off here reasonably soon. They're doing all the ups and downs and introducing things for, the people that weren't in Mobile all week long like we were. Any questions you have, feel free to fire those in the chat. Just like always, Super Chats get first priority, but I'll try to get to everybody's questions. I'm going to have a little sody pop. I hope that's okay with everybody. Not consuming beverages. Have a couple more interviews this evening. Had a boatload of interviews yesterday. My God, I have talked. The funny thing to me is that people will ask me to hop on their show or whatever the case may be, and then they ask me about the same 6 prospects, which and some of them are guys that don't matter for shit. Like I answered 100 Diego Pavia questions yesterday. That dude wouldn't go in the NFL draft if it was 17 rounds. At least he shouldn't. Am I going to tell you a team's not going to draft him? No. Does he matter in any way? Also no. I have started my positional rankings and the final countdown to 256. The final 256 will be unveiled starting the Monday after the Combine. We'll get to some of this stuff early on. Position rankings will start dropping this week. Quarterback sucks even more than we thought it did. I have less draftable quarterbacks than I don't think you could say a number low enough. I will implore you in the chat. Those of you that are already in the live stream, feel free, chuck it out there. How many draftable quarterbacks do you think I have in this class? I'm also lower on all of them than probably anybody in the world. Because I'm not as sold on Fernando Mendoza as the rest of you are. Bill Workman cheated because he's already heard this. He said 5. It is 5. I have 5 draftable quarterbacks in this class. It starts with Mendoza, and it ends with Talon Greene. Now, and I think Soaring Eagle low-key got the answer right. It's really 1. It's Fernando Mendoza, and then you would never draft any of the rest of them. You're probably right. For those of you looking to sync up, we are underway, just kicked off. Got the return coming up. That's one of the LSU guys, probably Anderson if I had a wager. I can't see his number. Yep, that was Aaron Anderson. See who gets to start here. I'll bet it's Nussmeier. Yep, Nussmeier will be your first quarterback out there, followed by Altmaier, followed by Talon Greene. Soaring Eagle with our first question of the chat. Where does Denver have to take Ted Hurst and Sam Roush if we want to take them to start at tight end 1 and wide receiver? Let's look. Let's look at the picks that the Denver Broncos have. Let's see if I can. This will be the first day that you can ask me customize stuff with your teams. I do use Tankathon for your picks. So I will say to get Ted Hurst and Sam Roush. With the picks you currently have, 30 and 62. You might be able to get one of them at 94. I would say it's more likely that's Roush, just solely because we have so many tight ends in this class. The thing that would scare me is Roush is the only one that really blocks at a high level that's also a pass catcher. First completed pass of the game to Malachi Fields. Nussmeier to Fields. Fields had a good week this week. I've heard a lot of good stories about him as a kid. Definitely the kind of guy you want on your team. They're already talking about Bud Black, which I'm not shocked at all. Just so many good players on this field. It's shocking every year when we get to Mobile and you just see how many of these guys are going to be impact players in the NFL. Mike Washington doing what he did all week long. Producing. I'm really looking forward to when we put out the running back rankings because I think you're going to be shocked where you see Mike Washington. I am not fond of this running back class, and now with the unfortunate news that Nick Singleton broke a bone in his foot on day 3, Mike Washington is now he's up the board. Let's put it that way. Washington with another carry and a first down for the American team. But yeah, Soaring Eagle, to answer your question, for me to definitively know you're going to get them both, you'll have to take one at 30 and one at 62 with the picks you currently have. Might be able to get them in the back end, get one in the back end of 2 and then trade up in 3, but I don't think either one of those two guys are falling to the early 90s. They were both just so good all week long. There was so much positive about both of them. Ted Hurst has played his way into a very, very, very lofty stature among wide receivers. Soaring Eagle say, how many draftable running backs not named Jeremiah Love? That's a good question. So on my draftable running backs list, scroll over here. Totally draftable is 19. I have 19 running backs in this class. And I mean, some of them are going to be works in progress. So I have both Indiana guys, Hemby and Black, who you'll see later in this game. Adam Randall, I have a draftable grade on, who I think we all know I'm not particularly fond of. Oh, that's a bad drop from my guy. What are you doing? Sam, I'm just sitting here talking nice about you. You made the All-Senior Bowl team. Oh, he just turned upfield too quick. Oh, it's a bad drop. It's okay. He did. It's credits and debits. That was a debit, but he's got a lot of credits. American offense has moved reasonably well here. That's usually you get inside the 40s and things get a little tougher. Oh, speaking of Indiana running backs, there is Kalen Black. Scoots out for a nice little first down. Oh, let's see. Soaring Eagle said, do you think we should trade back either to 32 or the early second? I would lean to the early second. Get another pick in the 80s because I think so. I would agree with that. I think you're going to get some movement right around those late 30 picks because there are guys that are developmental guys that I think are going to go higher than a lot of people. I like the meaty clackers of this class. I think there's a lot of players there. And you got a lot of players that play positions that are not super valuable. Another pick in the 60s. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a team that has those two things. There's just not a lot of those. I mean, I can tell you. I mean, I'll just look at my board here and tell you where the meaty clackers. This is one of the fun. This is one of the fun things to figure out for me every year. So basically, what I do is I take my rankings and I find where do we have a lot of guys that are kind of similarly graded, and then figure out where the drop off is because that's what I call the meaty clackers. It's a nice catch there. Right there on the sideline, 2 LSU guys hooking up. I believe that was Barron. I think. It was hard to figure out which LSU guys were which because we just had so many of them playing the same position. And I apologize for anything that takes too long. Internet's running a little bit slow with all the snow outside. American team in the red zone. Oh, got him. Nice play. That's that kid whose name I can't pronounce. Kid out of Iowa, defensive end. It's a really nice play. Actually showing he can stand up. It's a nice play. And the name on him is Max Llewellyn. I have to see his name to be able to pronounce it. Mike Washington carrying defenders. He is all the way down to the 2. Is he going to get in? My God, it took 8 guys to get him on the freaking ground. Love that kid. Just love that kid. Let's see. Soaring Eagles thinking Arizona and Tennessee. Those would make sense. The only thing you got to remember is that those are 2 teams that need more players. But I do think there's a great possibility that Denver's in that weird spot of I'm not sure our draft picks line up with what we need. This year, my meaty clackers, starts about 25, and I'm approximating here. Oh, Nussmeier with a RPO touchdown, Garrett Nussmeier. Meaty clacker starts 25 and runs all the way to 80. That's where I want to be. Halsey asked, does Denver need a QB? No. And this is a bad year to need a QB because there are none. If you missed that earlier, I have 5 draftable quarterbacks in this class. Total, I have 8 that I think will be drafted. The 3 that I do not have draftable grades on are Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck, and Sawyer Robertson. I did not like a lot of their Robertson he's fine. I just don't think there's anything special about him. Nussmeier has regressed, although he did look good on that first drive right there. Stands in the pocket way too long and nothing. Halsey said, people said Nix was not a great prospect. I still don't believe Nix was a great prospect. I think he's the 18th, 19th best quarterback in the NFL. But as we have stated, quarterback play is getting worse in the mid tier and better on the high side. Halsey asked, where would prospect Nix rank in 2026? He would be my number 2 by a lot. Ooh, let's go back to that board and see where he would rank. Now, this is on the assumption that Trinidad Chambliss is not going to be in this class. Chambliss and Bo Nix have very similar grades for me. So if Chambliss was in, Nix would be 2A, Chambliss would be 2B, and then Ty Simpson would be a very distant 3. As it sits, I think Ty Simpson's going to be your 2, which is fucking gross. But it's just where it is. This is not a good quarterback draft class. There are a lot of positions it's really, really good at. It's very deep at wide receiver. It's very deep at edge rusher. It's just not good at quarterback. Soaring Eagle, we need a QB3 behind Bo and Stiddy, which at that point, Haynes King in the 7th would be fine. Haynes King comes in. Where is Haynes King for me? Haynes King is my 14. I don't think you even have to use a pick on Haynes King. I think you can just sign him as a UDFA. Knocking shit off my desk. Apologies. Feel free to share this out with your draft nerd friends that were hanging out doing a Senior Bowl live stream. I'm going to share it on the socials right now because I forgot to do that. Okay, sorry about that. National team has the ball. I did not say, oh, of course, it's Diego. I don't think that kid can throw a pass outside of or inside the pocket. Justin Jolie with the first catch of the day for the national team. Afternoon, Mr. Majabi. Good to have you alongside us today. Putting in work, said Haynes King is a normal UDFA, not even a priority. I think if it's a quarterback with a pulse, they're going to be a priority UDFA this year. Because I think there's a better than 0 chance that Diego Pavia gets drafted. That's how bad this class is. And for some reason, I think it's going to be to my Jets. Majabi asked me if I have any thoughts on O'Leary. Oh, the new Chargers DC. That one surprised me a little bit when I saw the name come down. I don't know a lot about him. I really don't. I don't know much about him. He was at Western Michigan or somewhere like that. I know he had worked in the Chargers organization at another point, but I would love to give you good info. Oh, botched handoff. Oh, we got a pitchy woo woo in the Senior Bowl. Fellas, let's not do that. We don't need to go pitchy woo woo in the Senior Bowl. This ball may be coming back to the national team. I can't tell. I think it's gonna. Yeah, it stays with the American team. We went pitchy woo woo. I don't know that was a legal pitch, but okay. We got him trying to go. Oh, the second one wasn't a pitch; it just got knocked out of his hand. Yeah, that was. What in the fuck was that? That was bad by Pavia and McGowan. That was not good. Let's not do any of that shit. Oh, and by the way, if this gets sideways enough, we'll just say screw it and watch the Royal Rumble. Which reminds me, I need to have that up on my other screen. Muted. I got a lot of shit happening today. One thing I do hate about ESPN having the unlimited is it is so freaking hard to log into. There we go. Oh, big run here from Jamari Taylor. He didn't do much this week. I'm really glad to see him get a play. He's still on my draftable running back list, even though it was a very, very quiet week from him. Halsey asked, what is Taylor Greene? Taylor Greene is my 5'4". Excuse me. Taylor Greene's just got so many raw athletic traits that I think he's going to get drafted higher than some of these other guys. I think he's huge. He's huge and he runs like a fucking deer. It's just his throwing motion's so long. That's going to have to get compacted. I mean, he's a guy that you take hoping to God that he turns into something 2 years from now. Nadeem Tucker with another play. Because, of course, he did. I'm impressed he's still here. I would have thought after how good he was in the practices, he just said, screw this. Bill Workman, over under time, Pavia's robbed in New York if he's a Jet. I'll go non-applicable because he'll have his brothers with him. Now, if you want to go over under days until they get into a fight, also non-applicable because it'll be less than one. Jaden Ott with a nice little run right there. I thought he had a nice week. He showed in pass pro. I love a running back that can pass protect, and he definitely showed an ability to do that. Oh, he's out of the outside. Cut right there. Boom. Nailed it. Jaden Ott in the end zone. The American team's up 12-0. Really good start from the American team. The funny thing is that all week long, people were telling me how much better they liked the American team than the national team, and I didn't. I liked their quarterbacks better. But that's not saying much. In this game, everybody has to go for 2, so that is why we're doing that, if anybody was curious. Nussmeier finds Malachi Fields in the back of the end zone, and it's 14-0 American team. Let's see. Joshua Pennick said, all I hear is that Arizona will hopefully get more than expected for Kyler. I mean, it depends on what you're expecting to get. I mean, if you think you're going to get a 3 and a 5 with maybe a player, quite possible. But I think that's about what it is. Halsey asked, why would another team want Murray if Arizona doesn't? Well, because Arizona has the chance to re-sign Jacoby Brissett. And you get a team like the Jets, who right now would be starting Brady Cook. So Kyler's better than that, for sure. I mean, I don't think he's a great NFL quarterback. He's fine. I mean, as a Jets fan, if you told me it's what we have for Kyler Murray, I'm all the way in for Kyler Murray. All the way in for Kyler Murray. So if you're just joining, I saw the number jump a lot. I'm at NFL Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. I've been at the Senior Bowl all week long. We're watching the game. Right now we're in a commercial after the American team just scored their second touchdown. It's 14-0. If you have questions, NFL draft questions about your team, prospects, anything you could possibly ask, feel free to fire those in the chat. I will answer those as they come in. Joshua Penix, Jacoby's under contract for another year. Appreciate that. I did not know that, but I appreciate you telling me. Alex Majabi feels like he'll ask for Nadeem Tucker to be drafted to us. If he does, then that's another dog that you're going to have. Because Nadeem Tucker was fantastic all week long. Gary Birch, you're right. There aren't 32 starting NFL quarterbacks. Archie, welcome in. We're like an AA meeting for sports. Feel free to comment in your drug of choice. Mine's the New York Jets, which is why I drink. That's why there's a bottle of Fireball in there that's already been worked on, and it'll be worked on more after a few interviews this evening. So thoughts on my guy Josh Cameron. So I can give you a lot on Josh Cameron. The receiver that he's working with is Mark Clayton, former Baltimore Raven, and I believe he was in St. Louis, not L.A. Ram. And he told me before I ever left for the Senior Bowl, he said, you're going to love my guy Cameron. He's got really good hands. He's really good at flashing the hands late. Big body. He's got a body like a running back. He's going to be a yak god in the NFL. I think he did himself as many favors, if not more, than every guy that showed up here. He was fantastic. Body's great. I mean, there's really not much to not like, and he showed that he had the ability over the top. He had a borderline perfect week in Mobile. I think he probably projects somewhere right in the crux of 3-4, just because there's so many wide receivers in this class. He might end up going a little higher than that. He's a guy I would love to have on my team. You know, if I have the ability, he is definitely a guy that I want on my team. So thank you, Archie, for the question. Halsey asked, Ty Simpson or Kyler Murray? For me, it's Kyler Murray by a lot, because I do not want to invest the first-round pick it's going to require in Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson has poor man's Mac Jones. Oh, my God. Poor man's Mac Jones written all over him. Diego Pavia. How? I'm going to ask the same question I asked 100 times this week. How did he get here? Like, he just show up and they went, fuck it. Everybody else was busy. The center stepped on his foot, but my God, that's the second time he's been on his ass that nobody touched him. I believe that was, God, he's terrible. I just don't understand how we got here. Halsey said, go, Diego, go. Let's see. Majabi asked, any spicy news you can share from Senior Bowl week? A lot, actually. I mean, there was a lot going around at the practices. I got to talk to a lot of NFL people. I want to thank Logan Paulson and the Commanders for all that. They had me on a lot over the course of the last week. They did get to see an interaction between Trevor Sikkema and myself where Trevor and I don't see each other a lot. We talk a good bit, but we ran into each other on the mezzanine, and we were actually switching places. The group was interviewing Trevor, and then I came in. They were interviewing me afterwards, and we just Got to talk for about 10 minutes, and Logan said it was cool to just be a fly on the wall with the year-round draft people. And I told him, I was like, that's how I feel with the year-round NFL people. You guys that played in the NFL, so when I hear you and Fred Smoot talking, I feel the same way. Interesting news, though. We'll get into some of that as we go along. I'm trying to think of the spiciest little nugget that I heard. Mac Jones is going to be available and probably going to fetch more than you think. That was one that I heard a good bit this week. The Kwesi Adofo-Mensah thing was nowhere. I had heard there were some issues in Minnesota, but nothing to the point of they're going to fire him the day after we all leave the Senior Bowl. That was news. So just remember, anything that you hear at the Senior Bowl, and I would caution you of any of that, anything you hear, take it with a grain of salt, because they're really buttoned up around they're buttoned up around the mezzanine. It was actually more buttoned up this year than before because so many team scouts were up there with us because the team side was in the shadows. And it was fucking cold. Gary Birch said he's found Jack Daniel's Blackberry. It's quite tasty. I think I have a little bottle of that here. Halsey, interesting, the Jets have no chance to move up one pick even with the extra picks because you're not going to move up for Mendoza. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Raiders wouldn't listen. Even though he's the only quarterback in this class, I have some very specific takes on Fernando Mendoza. I think they would listen. I don't think the Jets are going to offer because I think there are a lot of us that look at Fernando in similar lights. He is the best quarterback in this class. There are some people that would have taken him over some of the guys last year. I'm not one of them. I would have had Shuck ahead of him. I would have had Jackson Dart ahead of him. I would have had Cam Ward ahead of him. So for me, he's the fourth in last year's class, and I liked, not loved last year's class, especially considering it was the year after the one before. Detroit Fan Man said he went to see the rosters online to check out what side had our favorite guy, Gabe Jackus. It's the American, by the way. He's listed as a D lineman rather than a DE. Is D-line just code here for outside linebacker who can play with a hand in the dirt? I believe so. We asked that question a handful of times this week, and it definitely did appear that the guys that had that delineation were also looked at as edge rushers too, because Jackus stood up a decent amount. Archie, my Bengals desperately need defensive tackle. Is Caleb Banks worth the 10th pick? Heard he's gaining on Woods. So Sycamore and Connor Rogers did a mock yesterday afternoon. I just saw it today. They had Caleb Banks at 9 to Kansas City. That's a little rich for my blood, but I understand how you got there. He was really good this week. Is he worth the 10th pick? Maybe. In this draft, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, because I think you're going to get a lot of guys that grade out, at least on my grading scale, from 8.7 to 8.5. And so those guys are going to be lumped in there together. So if you really like Peter Woods, take Peter Woods. If you really like Caleb Banks, take Caleb Banks. Banks is a fun kid. I thought he had a lot of good reps this week. He shows really strong, and more than anything, he shows really healthy. So healthy is a big deal to me. So worth it? Sure. I don't know that he will go that high, but he is worth it. Crispy, we're glad to have you, Crispy, said, is a team going to eat Kyler's contract? I think that depends on how much capital Arizona wants. Arizona's in this weird spot of they have one of the only quarterbacks that I believe will move teams that is worth draft capital. So if they're okay getting that 3 and 5 that we discussed earlier, maybe with another player, then the other team probably eats a good amount of that, or the other team probably eats a good amount of that contract. If they want higher picks, then they're going to have to eat a bit of that. I don't know how much cap space Arizona has. I can find out. I know the Jets have a lot. So, and that's the team that I keep targeting going, that's probably the team that does it. So the Jets could eat that deal for 1 year. Arizona holds the bonus money, which I don't think there's a ton of left. Let's see. Kyler's guaranteed money. Yeah, the only thing less $36.8 million. So if Arizona holds on to that, which a lot of times you do, just because that's bonus money, then yeah, they could get a good amount back for him. Pre-June 1 trade, Arizona eats 17-9 and saves 34-7. If it's post-June 1, they eat 10-7 and save 41-9. So I could easily see a path that he's a post-June 1 trade. But thank you, Crispy, for that question. Welcome in. Glad to see new names that I haven't necessarily seen before as we're watching the Senior Bowl. Halsey, Darnold looks like quite a steal for the Seahawks. They won't keep him on that contract for long. No. Seattle will probably look to extend him this year. I actually sat in this very chair the first day of free agency and said that is the steal of the offseason. And I was right. Because now they're in a Super Bowl. And Mina Kimes said, yeah, the Seahawks will regret trading Geno Smith. Bet you they don't. I'll bet you they haven't regretted it for one freaking second. I talked to a couple Seahawks guys while I was at the draft, and look, they probably didn't send the highest level guys to the Senior Bowl. You're picking at 31 or 32, first of all. But it was a couple of their scouts, and they told me point blank, we identified Sam really early as our guy. Archie, is it hard to evaluate quarterbacks in events like this? No chemistry with the wideouts. What do you look for? That's a really good question, Archie. I'm glad you asked it. It is harder to evaluate wide receivers in an event like this than it is quarterbacks because what I'm looking for out of the quarterback, this is basically an install week. So this week, everybody got the playbook the same day, which was either Sunday or Monday. I never got a really good beat on that. They get the playbook early. It's very basic. It's very simple install. I call them Madden cadence. So basically, it's just your play calls are going to sound something like X right 325, one dig, X over, just very rudimentary shit where basically what you're doing is in the play call. So the quarterback having no chemistry with the wide receivers is a big deal. You want to see the chemistry develop over the course of the week. For the receivers, it's big that they don't have experience with the quarterbacks, of which we had a few that didn't hold. Nussmeier had a couple guys here, and they were on the same team. So he obviously had better rapport with them. I don't think any of the other quarterbacks had receivers here, but I could be wrong. You want to see how they improve over the week as they get used to the playbook, as they get used to each other. And so by that third practice, you really want, at that point, it's you can't give me the we don't have a rapport anymore because you've been doing this for 3 days. So you should have rapport with certain guys. The rapport got better pretty much with every quarterback. I thought Talon Greene was the one that showed. He went from kind of clueless day one to I thought he was the best quarterback on the field day 3. Nussmeier, he stayed pretty average the whole time. Diego was not good. I thought Altmaier improved as the week went on. Cole Payton, the kid from North Dakota State, I thought he improved. So to answer your question, it's not necessarily hard to evaluate the quarterbacks as much as it is hard to evaluate the wide receivers. Detroit fan man, all I look for is 1,000 passing attempts in college. That definitely helps. That's that was in the Bill Parcells rules of you want guys that have competed for a long time. And you know what's funny? That still holds up to a point to this day. Even though he said that 20-some-odd years ago, that still holds up to this day. Joshua Penix, we have like 30-ish with a pretty easy path to get close to 90 if we make some moves. I mean, pretty much everybody's going to have some form of space. The cap came in yesterday. Don't know if everybody saw that. It's going to be between 301 and some change and 305 and some change. That's $6 to $10 million higher than we thought it would be, which helps. Halsey said it looked okay at first, but taking Mayfield and Barkley before Darnold was silly. I agree, and I said at the time, a lot of people have always said I'm just a Baker hater. One of the reasons I'm a Baker hater is because it never made any sense to me how anybody watched Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and went, nope, we're going to do that. Allen, I would have understood if you thought that you could rein in the arm because he had a huge arm at Wyoming. He was just super inaccurate and he had a lot of turnover issues. Even Josh Rosen, to a point, I would have understood how you got there. I wouldn't have agreed with it because I hated Josh Rosen. Baker's the one that I don't know how you got there. It makes no sense to me. Saquon, the Giants, they fell in love with Saquon. Everything I've ever heard was they didn't like Darnold, and they didn't feel like there was a quarterback worth the second pick. I've also low-key always thought they would have a shot at another quarterback. I just don't know who it would be. Bill Workman, my partner in crime down in Mobile this week, said the Seahawks being in the Super Bowl and having the fifth most cap space is scary. The only caveat I'll give you to that is they have a lot of free agents, so they're not going to go into free agency with the fifth most cap space. Oh, we have an interception. Was that Deshaun Singleton? I got a lot of shit for him being my safety on the All Senior Bowl team, and I really hope that's who it was. Nussmeier just floats one. Gillenborg did not get hands on it, and it's Deshaun Singleton with the interception. I thought he low-key had one of the best weeks. Okay, that's cool. I stood in that. They must have brought that down from up on the mezzanine, but that's funny that they all go and pose for a trading card together. Looking forward to seeing that being Senior Bowl social media here over the course of the next week. Nussmeier throws an interception right there. I would love to say I'm surprised by that, but he was high on a lot of throws this week. I just think Nussmeier's such a weird eval because it's so strange that for me, one of the things he did best was accuracy, and then all of a sudden now he just doesn't look nearly as accurate as he did. If you're just joining in, I'm at the NFL Draft Nerd, Jeremy Greene. You can find me on Twitter there. We will be dropping a good amount of draft content on Twitter when I can remember to log into Twitter. By the way, Twitter, could you team up with one of the others so that I could post on you at the same time I post on other things? That'd be really sweet. And you can find us on Instagrams, Facebook, TikTok, everything else at the Sportsocracy, same name as the YouTube channel here. Workman said Singleton and Clark had massive weeks. I agree. He also said Nuss was the most Jekyll and Hyde quarterback in Mobile. I would agree with that too. Because there were times, especially it seemed like in 2-minute drill, where Nuss looked composed. He got everybody lined up well. He did all of that well. It seemed like almost the more time he had, the more inaccurate he got, which is a little bizarre. Way to go, Deshaun. I caught some shit about you being on this team, and I'm really glad you got that interception. Let's see. Archie, with doing this a while and talking to scouts, what do you think is the most overrated trait that guys still value? 40 speed. I laugh at that every single year, that guys still get so locked into what guys run the 40. Like, for the love of God, there's only two positions on the field that it means fuck all. It only means anything to a running back and a wide receiver. That's it. To everybody else, it's borderline irrelevant. It has a role with corners, but there are ways to mitigate that. 40 speed's the one that I will say means the least. I care more about your play speed than your 40 time. Because I look at a guy like Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman was really good at short area separation when he was at Florida State, but he didn't run the fastest time. And like Gary just said, with receivers, if you get locked into a 40 time, look how many guys that would have taken you off of, like he said with Anquan Bolden. Now, if I was going another trait, 40 time is so high for me that I'm not sure I'm even going to get to another one. It's more what traits are overvalued to certain positions. because I love the Bruce Feldman freak list, and I love to reference it. It shocks me how many times those things get brought up that don't mean shit to the position that they play. Short little aside here, Drew Fabianich, I met him this week. West Virginia feller like me. He was the GM of the program for a couple years. Doing a really good job with the Senior Bowl. Had some big shoes to fill with Jim Nagy leaving. Jim had done a really good job with this. And I thought Drew did a really good job this week. It was a very, very fun event. And props to Shrine. I thought Shrine was great with what they were working within the confines of. They got us taped very early because they knew a lot of us couldn't make it to the stadium each day because of ice. It was great. It was absolutely great. Let's see. Gary Burt said, I do need to step up Twitter posting, especially video. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The problem with Twitter is that their dimensions are a little bit different, and neither of the girls that are actively helping me do social media things have ever done Twitter before. So it's really on me, and since I've had those two in the building, I've just been insanely busy prepping for senior super. I'm supposed to be at Super Bowl this week, prepping for Shrine and doing the senior or doing the playoffs. My goal is to really amp up the Twitter thing starting this week and going into the combine. I'm going to put a lot of draft stuff on Twitter. That's really what I want to use it for, is I want people to go through my Twitter and when I do interviews and things like that, they can see, oh, he said this about blank. So it's a good point, though. Workman said top speed over 40 speed. I would agree with that. I really care more about short area bursts, so I look more into the shuttles and things like that. I also look at the 10-yard split on the 40 more than I actually look at the final 40 time. Gary Burt said Logan with his long arm fetish. He does have a thing with dude's arm length. He says it to me sometimes. I looked at him at one point this week. I said, you could be making up his arm length. I wouldn't know. Because I don't have it in any of my notes. I don't do any of that shit until we get to the combine. First of all, because I don't believe any of the measurements. After last year, you fucked me on arm length. We're not doing it again. This year, they might all be spot on. But until I see that based on I know how regimented the combine is. And those are the numbers that we, as an industry between the NFL and the scouts, those are the numbers that we go by. So when I see them, I can compare them. And if they're accurate, then maybe next year, I'll go by those a little more. This year, I didn't even look at them. They gave me a list. I went, nope, don't care. Kelvin said shuttle might be the most underrated. Change of direction is the core of athletics. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's a number that I pay way more attention to than seemingly other people in the industry. I just saw Chris Hilton on screen there. We're going to talk about him. At some point in this live stream, we're going to talk about Chris Hilton. He is an important one and definitely one to watch. National team has the ball working the way down the field. Cole Payton from North Dakota State is in at quarterback. Seems like we have a lot of we're still getting overlay with some of the early guys. So I believe this coaching staff's doing more of hockey shifts than big line changes. Jennings Dunker still out there. Rutledge from Georgia Tech out there. Man, the right side of that line right now is just fucking monsters. Because I like both those guys a lot. 4th and 5 here for the national team. You'll see them go for this a lot. That rep, I can genuinely say, there was nothing good about that. That was not great. Turnover on downs. It is American ball. We're headed the opposite direction, starting at about the 45-yard line. 8:43 to go in the second quarter. American team up 14-0. Soaring Eagle, if Denzel Boston or Jordan Tyson somehow fall to 30, do we take one of them? I'd say so, especially if Boston's there. I heard a lot of good about Boston this week. I don't think he'll be there. Jordan Tyson might. The medical's going to matter a lot on him. And I'm not going to lie to you, I think the medical's going to be terrifying. He had a lot of injury issues between Colorado and Arizona State. So I could easily see a path that you would take them if they fell. If I had to put a percentage chance on it, I would say there's about a 5% chance Denzel Boston's there and probably a 20% chance that Jordan Tyson's there. Gary Birch, am I off on this? Seems like Senior has more high draft picks playing than in the past. I'm not going to say you're off on it. I think you got less maybe top 50 guys this year and more 51 to 150 because there was a huge concentration of those. The way that Senior usually works, the top 25 guys completely skip it. 26 to 126 are really predominantly here. Then 127 to 250 kind of nest on Shrine, and everybody else takes an invite where they can get it. So that's usually how it breaks down. Let's see. Halsey, I can walk slowly and change direction quite well, as can I. Gary's still was talking about Twitter here. That'll boost your following significantly. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to make Twitter a bigger thing. Here in the Carolinas, it's just not a big thing, and I forget, that's on me. Gary says he wants to ask Logan Paulson if his wife has long arms. I can attest. I don't believe that she does. She's a very, very pretty lady. I have never met her, but I have heard her in the background while he and I were on the phone together. So Gary said that's also probably why he started talking to you. Thought, man, look at those long arms. Halsey, will you interview Akeem Mesidor on the mezzanine? If he had been here, I would have, and I was really sad that he didn't show up. Mesidor is one of those that when he dropped out, I went, he's going higher than I think. Then I started seeing him in the top 20 to 25 in mock drafts, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't see that coming. Nice little RPO run there from Jaden Ott out of Oklahoma. Archie, the industry is pretty good overall at ranking guys, yet teams still mess up. Do you think interviews do more than we realize? The interviews definitely do more than you realize. I can attest to that. The interviews mean more than you think. So this is a funny question because I know the answer, and people often don't like the answer. So the industry on the whole, I'm going to assume you're talking about guys like me. Our rankings look so wildly different than what NFL teams have. I'll go over the last 3 years. I've known one NFL team's draft board completely, and I've had a pretty good read on at least 5 or 6 more. It blows my mind how differently they view some guys. And I'll tell you, I can tell you why. So guys like me, I'm analyzing every guy for 32 teams. So I'm having to play possibilities. I'm having to play medical. I'm having to play goes to a bad team. I'm having to do a lot of things. So mine really gets into just as a football player. This is where they fall in. NFL teams are looking for a guy that fits a specific role. So I'll take the kid that just got the pass work right there. Justin Jolie that wasn't Jolie. That was the defensive kid. I'm still going to use Jolie though because I've already planned this out in my head. There will be about 10 teams that don't have a draftable grade on Jolie, in spite of the fact I think he's going to go roughly top 100, top 125, because he just doesn't fit what they do. So they're looking for specific roles. Sometimes they overdraft guys that play specific roles because it really fits them. You know, if you're looking for a 5-tech and you've only got one left, it doesn't really matter what the grade on them is if you need one of those, because you got to go get a guy. So sometimes they'll take a guy completely out of order, maybe 50 spots, 100 spots higher than we have them, because they don't have another draftable guy at that position. And I've had that told to me by multiple teams over the years. We took the kid where we had to because we were afraid another team was in the same boat and was going to take our guy. So good question, Archie. Appreciate that one. Soaring Eagle, what quarterback should the Cardinals take as a potential Kyler replacement? I wouldn't make fun of them if they took Greene or Nussmeier. I don't think you can really count on any of the quarterbacks in this class being replacements to shit. For me, it would be more of a, do you think you can get Ty Simpson in day 2? Do you think, do you have a higher, God, that's a good run by Jaden Ott. He's had such a good week. And I'm so happy for that kid. He went to the wrong school. Oklahoma wasn't right for him. And he came down here with a chip on his shoulder, and it shows. And I love that. But Soaring Eagle, to answer your question, knowing now that they have another year of Jacoby Brissett, I wouldn't be mad at Taylor Greene. I wouldn't be mad at Cole Payton. Just if you're going to take a shot on a guy and hope you can develop him. Now, this is the other thing I'll say. I think there's so damn many quarterbacks in next year's class that's what I'm going to do. If we break a record for fewest quarterbacks drafted, I will not be surprised. I think the record right now is 8. Maybe 7. I won't be shocked if we break that. Mike Washington with another nice run there. Colton Hood with a tackle on the outside. That was nice. That was a nice open field tackle from Colton Hood. I didn't feel like he had the greatest week. It wasn't terrible, but I don't really feel like he helped himself a ton. Bill Workman said Jolie needs to be in a pass-heavy offense. I would agree. Also, he said Ott took full advantage of this week. I'd agree with that as well. Gary Birch, Taylor Greene will be the 3 in D.C. I will be stunned if you take a let's go. He just hit him in the head with the ball. That's the same team. We're on the same team, fellas. That's now he did truck stick your ass, so I understand why you got up a little pissed. That was funny. Mike Washington with another hell of a run, but he induces a hold because he popped it outside. That was not a great rep from him. I'll be shocked. I'm sorry, Gary, to what you said. I'll be shocked if Washington uses one of their picks on a quarterback. Shocked. Not going to tell you it won't happen, but I'll be shocked if it does. The old butcher from Oregon, he seems to just hate running backs. They're showing all his reps from the week where he's just knocking the shit out of running backs. That's funny. And Gary, I could see you signing a UDFA because Sam Hartman, I can't really wrap my brain around why he's still employed by an NFL team. Bill Workman said 22 current quarterbacks potentially in next year's class. I'm not sure you're not low. We could easily break the 6th in the first round record next year. Talking about the Oregon linebacker here. Still, I thought he had a good week. Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh really stole his shine, though. Oh, shit, we have a field goal. Boop. And the ball lands on the Michelob Ultra Terrace because for some reason Hancock Whitney does not have nets behind the goalposts. Every year I wonder that shit. Why do you not just put nets up back there? One guy hit the field house earlier in the week. It went over the Michelob Terrace and hit the building back behind it, which was kind of funny. Soaring Eagle, my dynasty team has MHJ, and Michael Wilson is just pleading that Kyler is moved in the offseason. I believe there's a good chance he's going to be moved. There's so many teams desperate for quarterbacks and just so few of them out there. Gary Bird's talking about Sam Hartman. He brings in the female fans, and he's Jaden's buddy, which is really all he needs to do as a 3 in this league. Archie, as the tight end guru, if you're new to the program, I am known as the tight end whisperer. I've been pretty good at tight ends over the years. Also played tight end. Who's your guy this year? Love me some Carson Ryan. Ooh, that's a good question. Where do I have Carson Ryan? Let's see. Let's filter this for tight ends. My guy is Sam Roush. While I'm looking this up, I realized I could have answered the other side of your question while I was looking for the answer to that. Sam Roush is my guy. I like a bunch of them, though. Sadiq, I probably have higher than, I won't say anybody in the industry, but I have him really high. I like Eli Stowers. I like Max Clare. I think he made a bad decision by going to Ohio State, but I still like him going back to the Purdue tape. Jack Andrews from Texas has some really nice hands. Logan Paulson swears to me he can block. I'm going to really dive deep to look into that. I like Jolie from NC State. Michael Trigg from Baylor is one that I'm not going to say I'm warming to. I've always been somewhat warm to him. I see the talent. I'm just not sure why we haven't seen it as much. I really like Roush from Stanford, who we talked about. I'm trying to find a deeper guy because basically every guy I just said's played his way into much higher. Now that you've asked me this question, I'm really realizing that tight end for me kind of runs about 100 picks because a lot of people like the kid Klein from Michigan. I don't really see it. I do kind of like Royer from Cincinnati. Raritan from Notre Dame had a good week at Shrine. Daquan Wright's the right answer because he's going to go later than he should. And I'm just drunk in love on him. In my personal 100, Daquan Wright will be in the top 100. And if he goes in the real 100, I'm going to cuss a lot because I won't have him in my media contest top 100 submission. And I do not have Carson. Sorry, I forgot there was another part of that. I do not have Carson Ryan, the kid from, is it BYU? I do not have a draftable grade on him currently, and I have not ranked all of my tight ends. But he is a priority UDFA. He's going to be right. Carson Ryan will be right about that. I'll say about 300 line for me. I understand why you like him, though. He's really, really good this year. Stubby Nubby said Hartman deserved to run more than Josh freaking prehistoric Johnson. You were not the only person to say that. I heard that a good amount over the course of the year. I was a little surprised that as we got really late that Hartman never got any run, but he didn't. Bill Workman, listening to Mr. Greene and Logan talking tight end is top-tier ball knowledge. Source, my own ears. He did get to hear some of that as we were talking over the course of the week. Alex Majabi asked, did I mention Oscar Delp? Delp is, I believe, the last draftable tight end that I have. So I didn't get all the way to the bottom of the list. I was in that meaty clackers for me of tight ends where I'm really high on these guys. Let me get back to my list here. I'm going to filter the whole. Oh, shit. That's not the right button. Let's filter this, see how many. Oh, God. Tight end's so annoying because you filter a spreadsheet and it's every Peter and Hunter and all that shit. They pop up. Let's see if there's anybody that I didn't mention here. Michael Trigg's higher than I remembered him being. Like Roush a lot. There's Royer. Koziol from Houston. Raridan from Notre Dame. Oscar Delp was 246 coming into this week. And he was indeed my last draftable tight end. I'm trying to say, I don't see another name that I didn't mention there. The kid from Tennessee was not on my initial 256. Neither was the kid from Wyoming, Gillenborg. And they're fine. They'll either be right at the back of the 256 or they'll be pretty close to it. But to answer your original question that I don't know if I answered it appropriately, Archie, the one that I'm in love with is Daquan Wright. I think he's going to go higher than other people think he's going to go, and I think he is going to be a dog. Gary Burt said the Mississippi State kid. Is that the Traore? I don't actually even know how to pronounce his name. He's on the honorable mention list for the top 256. Sadhu Traore? I don't know if that's how you say his name. I think you had told me about him before, and I watched a little on him, and he got to the also receiving votes list. Gary, can you tell me how you actually pronounce that kid's fucking name? I think Logan mentioned him to me too. He's a big, dirty slot. You gotta love those. Let's see. Andreas Pinckney, any idea who the Jets are looking at with the second pick? Only team in the top 10. I have no idea what they do. I still maintain that Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald are good enough on the edge. Everybody wants to give them an edge. And I'm just not there. I think the Jets are taking Caleb Downs. I've thought it the whole time. I think the Jets will prioritize just getting the best player because they have so damn many picks. And I will tell you this without telling you this. My Jet guys have done absolutely nothing to shut me up about that. So they either really like how wrong I am or I'm not. Stubby Nubby. Worst case, better draft pick, or you have more evidence to move on from him. Johnson was no upside long term. I agree with you. Also, you didn't have a ton of guys at that point that you were really trying to develop. So it's not even like you were worried about Hartman, pushing a guy backwards. Oh, there's Cosmo. BYU's mascot out there doing the Lord's work. God, poor bastard still doing table push-ups even in the preseason. I've always wondered if he actually struggles to do that as much as or if that's just playing it up. And the mascots go wild. I bet he had a thing with Miss Pac-Man. Sorry. Shit my brain goes to. Gary Burt said Herd Trigg takes a lot of plays off. The motor's inconsistent. That's one of the knocks I've had on him. I think he's so good talent-wise that I can't figure out why the higher level tape's not there more than it is. Soaring Eagle said, so Broncos fans say we need a legit tight end. I agree with that. I like what you got to a point from Evan Ingram, but do we just take Daquan Wright in the 90s? Wright and Ingram are very similar because I don't think Wright's a great blocker. I would take Wright in the 90s. I would be happy to take Wright in the 90s. Uh-oh. Ball. Oh, shit. Duke Kid just said, not only did I strip it out, I just took it away from you. Did he just... Yep. Yep, my ball. That's a really positive rep. Oh, that's my guy Bowery, too, that gave it up, too. Why, guys, why do we still have Jude Bowery playing at tackle? I mean, we saw this all week long. He's going to play guard. Vincent Anthony from Duke there with the strip sack fumble. That was a nice play. I liked him a lot this week. I didn't think the effort was perfect at all times, but I like the raw from him. Soaring Eagle, sorry, we had a fumble right there. The question is that when Broncos fans ask you that, are they looking for an all-around tight end, a guy that can block, or are they just looking for an absolute, or are we still on this Joker thing for Sean Payton? Because I think Daquan Wright can be that. I don't think he'll run crazy fast, but man, for a big boy, because I think he's 265 pounds, if I remember correctly, he is a freak. And I do love him. Oh, my God. What is that? What the fuck was that? Ephesians Prysock just literally boxed out the Montgomery, the kid from John Carroll. Let's see. I'm not really sure. Oh, there we are. Archie, Baylor guy here. Trigg made the best catches, but he doesn't want to do the dirty work like a super Mike Gesicki. I could not have put that any better. Thank you for that, Archie. That's a really good way of putting that. Trigg seems to really only want to do the shit where his name's called. Could have said it any better. Gary said never enough edge. I agree. The problem with the Jets, especially at 2, and I think that's what you're commenting on that too, is I've got Jermaine Johnson and I've got Will McDonald. I've got guys starting at other positions that are XFLers. So outside of the line, the offensive line and those 2 edge pieces, there's literally not a soul position-wise. God, that was such a catch. Boop. Gotcha, bitch. So good. Josh Cameron. He's just so good. Swoop! Hey, the Northwestern kid finally made a play. Now, it was a play off of Karam, but he finally made his first play of the week. He talked a shitload, but he didn't really do anything. Interception. Headed national. Let's see. So we're headed. It's the American team's ball now. I get confused sometimes with the damn jerseys. Let's see. Where the hell was I? Oh, with what Gary said. The Jets have those 2 positions, and those 2 guys are going to be the starters. So why the hell would I take another edge at 2? Why would I not just go get what I think is a generational prospect in Caleb Downs? I also said the same thing about them with Kyle Hamilton, and what did they do? Not that. Bill Workman, Caleb Downs is a player you build an entire scheme around. I agree. I think Caleb's one of the best safeties I've ever evaluated. He's one of the best defensive players I've ever evaluated. Gary said he's always out on the loafers. Stubby Nubby said there's a joke about Woody Johnson drafted. Oh, my God. I didn't read the end of that. So that's kind of mean. I see where you're going there. Archie, as the team that drafted Burton, I agree. I'll never understand how they got there with him. I really don't. With all the red flags he had, it was shocking to me to see him go in the 3rd round. Archie, listen to Todd McShay a lot. I fucking love Todd McShay. Of the people that do what we do, I have as much respect for Todd McShay as anybody in the industry. He's also a really nice freaking guy. That doesn't matter to what you ask me, though. What the hell does speed to power really mean? Okay, so speed to power is a conversion. So I'll take it with an edge because that's one of the places that you see it a lot. So what I want is a guy that has that good first step, that good initial first beat. So that's how I want to be able to get you. I want to be able to get you into the position I want you by using my speed. What he means by speed to power is if you get that first step and you get by a guy, it is really hard if you're just speed to get by an offensive lineman if he gets his hands on you. Converting speed to power is being able to use that first step and then almost kind of shift gears and be able to use what you got to use the position that you got to your advantage and then be able to power through whatever handsy ass type block you're going to get to a quarterback. That's what speed to power means. Being able to convert speed into power. So a guy that doesn't do speed to power well is Will McDonald for the Jets. He's pretty much just speed. Dwight Freeney is probably the best speed to power guy maybe in NFL history because he would use that quick ass spin move and then he just had almost like torque to get to a quarterback because he wasn't crazy straight line fast. So I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, I can elaborate on it a little bit more. Soaring Eagle said they're looking for a safety blanket for Bo. That would be Daquan Wright. That would also be Sam Roush. That would be the two I would like the best. Alex Majabi, where does Sonny Styles go? I'm to the point of I feel really comfortable he's going in the top 20. From there, I couldn't tell you yet. Some people think he's going to go in the top 10. I struggle to believe that off a guy that is an off-ball linebacker and he's a converted safety. So I don't think I can get him to a single-digit spot, but I do see a path that he's going to that he'll go in the top 20. Soaring Eagle said we basically want a wide out tight end that's better than what we got. We got a lot of those. I like injuries. I like Roush. I like Daquan Wright. So, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, you can chuck any of those names out there because I think they would work for you. Gary said, sounds like a trade back set scenario with the Jets. The thing with the Jets is that you got to have somebody that wants to get up to 2, and I just don't know who that's going to be. I mean, Arvell Reese, maybe, but I still maintain he's best as an off-ball linebacker. And the last one of those that we took at 2 was LeVar freaking Arrington, and that was 27 years ago. I struggle to believe you're going to get a bunch of trades because I don't know who you're trading up for. Mr. Washington, how do you feel about the Chicago Bears drafting an edge? I would love the Bears to draft an edge. I would love to have a guy on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. I really want it to be a guy that is a different kind of edge from Montez Sweat. So let's look here at I have to be careful at this time because I haven't started doing the deep dive into the offseason yet. So, Mr. Washington, I really appreciate your question. The free agents for the Bears are – I just want to make sure I don't say a guy that's not going to be here. Tryon Shoyinka, you can tap out on that one. You really want to make sure you bring back Jaquan Brisker. I would bring back Kevin Byard, even though he's 33 years old. So none of the guys I was going to say here are free agents. So the Bears pick. Let me see what your picks look like. Chicago is picking at 25. 25, 57, 89, and then you got a hodgepodge of picks in day 3. So for me, I'm going to get to trying to get to what edge is going to be there when you pick. Cassius Howell is kind of a hat on a hat with Montez Sweat because he doesn't necessarily hold up as well. He was SEC Defensive Player of the Year. R. Mason Thomas is kind of the same thing as Sweat. Zion Young is the one that, and I knew when I pulled up this list, there'd be one that I really like. Zion Young to me feels like the perfect spot at 25. He was so good this week and big body, 260 pounds, 6'5". I think he's a 3-down guy. That for me would probably be the one that I would be all the way in on. Mr. Washington also said, first of all, appreciate the comment and appreciate you joining us here. So I love TJ Parker. He's a stud. Physically, he's a stud. I know a little bit about TJ Parker. First of all, I'm in a Clemson market. Second of all, I know somebody on that staff quite well. I want to hear how he answers things at the combine. of why did this shit happen? Height, weight, speed, physical ability, I agree with you 100%. I'm going to use a line that Logan Paulson said to me this past week. You don't meet a lot of guys in the NFL that are 10-year veterans that you can't look at and go, I love ball. That is one of the things that I worry about with him. He's so physically unbelievably gifted. I don't know that he loves this. So I want to hear what he says when he's asked that, because I know he's going to be asked that. I hope that answered your question, Mr. Washington. Ben Johnson, I played against in high school. So I know Ben quite well. He's from the same city that I'm sitting in right now. You're in unbelievably good hands with Ben Johnson. So thank you for that question. I really appreciate it. Joshua Penix, I just want Bain at 3 and a right tackle in round 2, or a free agent. As much as I like Maui Noah, I like Bain a little bit more. I heard less qualms about Bain than I thought I would get, because I've heard a lot of scouts talk shit about him. Then I got to the combine or to the Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowl, and nobody seemed to want to say that to my face. So I could see a path that you get Bain at 3, and there are more offensive linemen than you think. I like this draft class a lot at offensive line. Gary Burt said, when you see an offensive tackle on his back from a jump set, realize you have no power with your feet in the air. That's a really good way of putting that. And that kind of goes to that speed into power thing. Is like Gary said, so speed, a lot of times your feet are very choppy, so you don't necessarily have the torque or the power, or however you want to quantify that. That's kind of what speed to power means. So I appreciate that, Gary. Former offensive line coach, maybe still offensive line coach. Dude knows what he's talking about. Alex Majabi, who's a good linebacker, top 75 that you think could replace Denzel Perryman in a year or two? Oh, that's an open-ended ass answer. Kyle Lewis is the first. That is the first name that came to my mind. I freaking love that kid. I mean, you want to get cute, you take Sonny Styles the first round. C.J. Allen's more of a downhill run stopper type. I still like Anthony Hill Jr. I know definitively he's going to go in the second round, and I get it. He's really thin and more of an edge rusher than he is anything. I like Jake Golday from Cincinnati. Torian York had a really good week at Shrine. Jacob Rodriguez, I know, is Bill Workman, one of his favorite players out there. I think you would be good with any of the guys I just said. I still like Harold Perkins. He's just really little, and probably more of a star, or kind of a hybrid linebacker safety, almost safety corner. So those would be the first names that came to my mind to replace Denzel Perryman. Gary Burt said LeVar should have been a 3-4 defensive or a 3-4 edge. I don't really disagree with that. He was a fucking monster. Also a nice guy. Now that I work for Fox, I've had a couple encounters with him, and he's just a really, really good dude. Burt said Nadam or Nadame. I'm not real sure which way you say that, for the Bears. I would like that. I almost said that one. I just don't think he's going to go as high as what Mr. Washington was looking for. But if you wait until that third pick, and I think he may get there, Nadame Tucker would be one that I really like. He was an animal, and I liked him coming into this week anyway. Archie, any fun, unique guys a la Harold Fannin in this draft? Oh, yeah, there are. There are some quirky ass dudes. One of them's playing this game, Ty Montgomery, that he's played 2 years of football, period. He's just fast as hell. Antonio Williams is kind of a gadget guy to me. He's smaller, but he's really electric with the ball in his hands. Cameron's a bigger bodied, almost kind of running back player. But he showed a lot this week. If you're looking for a tight end, the one for me is Eli Stowers, because I think Stowers is just a freak of nature. And I think he's going to run faster than people think. Sadiq would be the highest side of that, because I don't know how fast he's going to run, but it's going to be ridiculous. But in terms of just totally funky like Harold Fannin, where you're built like a kind of an H-back, but you are really just more of a glorified wide receiver, I don't have a ton of those that aren't, a natural big slot or something like that, which is where Fannin fell in. I think the guys I just said are the ones that I go, those are really kooky. Let's see. Gary Burt said, don't know why my comments are double posting, but it helps the algorithm. Yes, it does. So, yeah, keep those questions coming. I'm not going to take a halftime break except maybe to go get another Coke. That's about it for me. I do have a hard out at 6 o'clock, though, because I'm doing an interview at 6. So, also, big ups to my wife, who I've been home for 24 hours, and she was like, you need to do a senior Bowl stream. I appreciate that. Archie, who's your favorite new head coach hire? My favorite one. Probably Jesse Minter with the Ravens. That's the one off the top of my head. I mean, I really like Kevin Stefanski, and now I should give the caveat here. In my head, this is LaFleur gets Arizona. This is Clint Kubiak gets the Raiders job. So that's where I'm at with them. Stefanski would be really high. I'm not as wild about Harbaugh, especially when I found out how much money they gave him. I don't think he was. I think he's a good coach. I don't necessarily know that he's going to turn around the New York Giants. Jesse Minter, I was really fond of. I guess I kind of get the Joe Brady thing. The offensive coordinator hire and Pete Carmichael is odd. And I get it. Brady and Carmichael were together with the Saints. That's a strange hire to me. I did like his DC hire, though. Todd Monken makes less than 0 cents to me. I get it. He likes Shador. He wants Shador. That's what you're after. But I don't understand that. I liked Halfley a lot. I think that's a really good hire. And Mike McCarthy, I wasn't as down on it as everybody else. I mean, I get why you did it. I just kind of think it's a little bit of a hat on a hat, but at least it's an offensive hat. And we all know how I feel about Robert Saleh. I think Saleh's a great coach. Just had no chance with the Jets. Majabi said, have a feeling if Banks is there at 22, Harbaugh will jump to the podium to snag him. After he missed on Kenneth Grant last year because Grant went so high. First of all, I don't see much of a way that Caleb Banks is going to be there at 22. But if he is, probably right. Workman said, I go to bed wearing Jacob Rodriguez pajamas. I'm in love with him that much. He is really high on Jacob Rodriguez, like to a point that almost kind of blows my mind because I like him, but I'm not that in love with him. I think he's good. I think he's a solid, safe day 2 pick. I don't necessarily see the high end upside. It's just a player that Bill and I don't necessarily agree on, but I do like him. Let's see. I went away from the chat there. Chad Reagan asked, is Samir Hagens at the Senior Bowl? He is not. I think he played in one of the other games, but I'm not sure which one. There is a Duke player that I am really fond of. I'm trying to figure out where Samir Hagens, did he play in one of these games? I thought he did, but apparently I was wrong. But he was not at senior. Let's see. Gary said wasted good rosters. Now he's on a bad roster. I feel like he's probably talking about Sala there. Archie, as a Cincinnati native, I got to ask your thoughts on the Godfather, Dante Corleone. That is a big fucking dude. I mean, that is a gigantic human being. I'm going to try to find out what he weighed in at. He is, this says 320 pounds. I got news for you. He weighs more than that. Really good against the run. I thought he had some productive reps. For me, I think there have been a couple defensive tackles that have probably maybe pushed him down. You know, Banks being as good here. It seems like the Peter Woods thing is finally starting to kind of dwindle. I like Caden McDonald a lot as a defensive guy. Corleone fits to me as kind of a late day 2 guy. But I really like him. And I will say there is a huge drop-off in those day 3 guys. So typically when I see that, because for me it's really Woods, McDonald, Big Cat Lee Hunter. I really like Darrell Jackson, especially in 3-4 fronts. Then you get into like Kristen Miller, maybe Dominique Orange, and Corleone. They're all going to be in there together. So, I mean, he could go as high as 60. I don't see a way he goes lower than 90. But he had some really good reps at Shrine. Let's see. Kifa, I appreciate. First of all, welcome. I think it's the first time it's done this thing where I'm not saying your names anymore. I'm just saying your username. So if I say I've never seen that one before, I apologize. It just means I've never seen it since it did this shit, and I can't get it to go back. So welcome in. Do you give Monken and Shador, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, or Carnell Tate? I am not as high on Jordan Tyson. The medical scares the piss out of me. If I was picking one, it would be Mekhi Lemon. If Carnell Tate had not gone to Ohio State, I don't think I would be talking about him the way that I do. I've just seen so many of those guys come in the league and just be so good. Mekhi Lemon is a walking big play. I get it, he's smaller. I don't really care. Tate can play on the outside. I don't think you're in bad shape with any of them. It's just which one would I take at 6? And to me, the only one that has number 6 overall pick talent is Mekhi Lemon. He's also the one that doesn't have number 6 overall body. But you're going to find a lot of that in this draft. So, Kifa, good question. We appreciate that. If I'm answering it, it would be Mekhi Lemon, and then Tate, and then Tyson. That would be the order I'm going in. Joshua Pennick said, I hope it's LaFleur over Kubiak. I actually like him a lot. LaFleur was a terrible OC with the Jets, but that's really about the depth of knowledge I have on him. I hear he's really bright. You're taking a shot on a young guy. I mean, I'm not mad at it. Is it better than Todd Monken? I would say so. Monken's safer because he's been in the league a long time. But I understand taking the shot on a guy like LaFleur. Andreas Pinckney said, my draft crushes are Jeremiah Love and Ted Hurst. It's always funny to me that Pinckney and I see these things very similar because we like a lot of the same guys. Because I love both those guys too. He said, I want to be best friends with them and do karate in the garage. Ted Hurst is the one that I want to ask him at the combine. Can we be best friends and do karate in the garage? Because I absolutely love that kid. I loved his demeanor. And he had a huge week at senior. I heard a lot about Jeremiah Love falling, which shocks me. If he doesn't go to the top 10, I won't be stunned. Archie, is R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma a Nick Bonito clone? I'm not going to say he's a clone, but it doesn't shock me that you're getting a very similar type of edge rusher in the way they're built. I love R. Mason Thomas. So I think that's his high side, is he could become like Nick Bonito. I do laugh sometimes when people say, "Oh, you helmet scout too much." Well, you realize they're trying to find guys that are similar because they're putting them into a role. So, Archie, I think it's a good question. I like R. Mason Thomas. I have him higher than virtually anybody I've seen. I have him as a very high 2. I wouldn't be pissed off if somebody took him in the first round. That's how good I think that kid can be. Workman said Love and Hurst this year for a young quarterback next year would be one hell of a nice setup for a team. I agree. Chad Reagan, where could Vincent Anthony Jr. get drafted? I have heard his name during the Senior Bowl. Yes, he is here. He actually just had a strip sack in the game in the second quarter. I thought he had a good, not a spectacular week, but I liked his tape coming in. So really all I was looking for on him was affirmation, not information. I think he's roughly a top 100 guy. I would say, where could he get drafted? I will say he probably goes in 75 to 100. It's going to be somewhere there. The thing that got him was how many edges really shined out this week. So just by point of comparison, a lot of times when people ask me this questions like this, I will ask, or I'll go to Trevor Sycama's board to tell you where he has him, because Sycama he's got Vincent Anthony at 207. That's entirely too low for me. I think his floor is about 125, 130. But then you do look at the list and go, my God, we've got a lot of edge rushers in this class. And you got Bain, Bailey on the high side, Parker, Falk, Mesidor, R. Mason Thomas, Gabe Jackus, Romello Height, Derek Moore, who had a really good week here. Now, there are some that we just got into that I don't see any way they are going to get picked over Vincent Anthony. So I'll say his floor is 120s. Fourth round. Let's see. Worries about Jackson versus doubles. I'm not sure who you were talking about there. Archie, when evaluating a prospect, do you value versatility more than a guy who does one thing great? That's a good question. Depends on the position. So I like running back, for example. I want a running back. There are 4 main tenets of running back: running to the outside, running to the inside, pass pro, and ability in the passing game. If you can't do 2 of those, I'm pretty well out. It's one of the reasons I don't like Katron Allen, because I think Katron Allen really only runs between the tackles well. He's kind of a Chuba Hubbard clone to me. It's a taller version, but that's what I see. Now, he did have a couple pass pro reps this week that were pretty good. He had a couple catches that were not bad. So it just it's refreshing to me to see that maybe he is going to check more of those boxes that I think as we go down the process. Now, you get to the other side, depending on what I want in an edge, I don't care if rushing the passer is the only damn thing you do. I liked Will McDonald, knowing damn well he wasn't going to hold up against the run. I liked R. Mason Thomas. I like Nick Bonino. I like a lot of guys that I know are not going to be 3-down guys. I don't care. You do the thing that I'm most in love with. So that really depends on the position. If there's a specific position you're looking for, feel free to chuck that one out there, and I can narrow down on that a little more. Where am I here? Apologies. I have lost my spot in the chat. There's Archie's question. So the next one is Tony Turntable. Sorry if I already missed it, but how did Carver Willis do this week? Carver Willis was not here this week. I don't have a Workman. Do you want to answer that one on what you've got on Carver Willis? Because I've got him, but I do not have anything from this week. Let me just verify that I'm. From time to time, I will put the wrong name on shit. So. And of course, with the snow, my computer's going at about the speed of smell. There we go. Oh, the kid from Washington. Yeah, he is here. I'm not gonna lie. For some reason I had Northwestern next to his name, and I don't remember a kid from North. Did he play at Northwestern? Nope, but he did play at two purple schools. I guess that's why that was in my damn head. I didn't see shit from him. Not gonna say it didn't happen. I just didn't see it, so I am actually 100% going to defer to him. Workman, did you see anything from him this week that maybe I didn't catch? And that was my bad, Tony Turntable. I had the wrong team. I don't know if I did that in my head. I don't know what that was, but apologies. He is here. I just didn't have anything from him. Workman said he was just average. Workman was dealing more with the linemen. The way you have to split this up because they're doing everything at one time is kind of a bitch, so it's not really easy from our vantage point to do both. So Bill and I kind of divide and conquer. That's funny though. That name didn't even resonate in my head, and we were there for 3 freaking days. It's not a good sign for Carver Willis. But thank you for the question, Tony Turntable. Sorry it took me so long to answer it. Andreas Pinckney said love at 8 and Hurst at 42. That's what I need. I think may not have to take Ted Hurst that high, but you might. He had a really good week. Archie, who's corner one for you? McCoy, and what do you do with Pond? So my corner one is Mansour Delane. Chris Johnson from San Diego State is just knocking on the door. McCoy scares me a little bit with the injury. He is my 3. And then we get into a big hodgepodge of guys that play very specific positions. So my 1 is Mansour Delane. That's the one that I feel comfortable taking in the top 15. Chris Johnson and McCoy are the 2 that I'm good in the first round, and then there's you kind of got to go a ways. D'Angelo Pons from Indiana is who he asked about with the second part of that question. He is a slot exclusive, and I think there are better slot exclusives. I like Chandler Rivers and Pons very, very, very close to each other. I like Malik Muhammad better as a slot exclusive than I do Pons. So I would say that, and that's probably the order they go in. For me, it's probably Muhammad, Rivers, Pons. You can put those 2 in any order you want to because I think they're very, very similar. Gary Burt said the JD Blackberra working on his ass. Archie, any thoughts on Eli Heidenreich? He was phenomenal at Shrine. He is just you know what? And I go back to somebody asked me a question about weird little gimmicky guys. Eli Heidenreich is the weird little gimmicky guy because he's really a receiver that plays running back, but he does a lot of the running back things well. Another gimmicky guy is Adam Randall, who started as a wide receiver and is now a running back, and he can't do damn near anything as a running back. I still just see him as a wide receiver. So that's actually to whoever asked that question earlier about gimmicky Harold Fannin type guys. Those 2 are really up there. I like Heidenreich a lot. If it's between those 2, I'll take Heidenreich 100 times out of 100. But Adam Randall, my God, he's a big running back. 6'3" and some change and just thick as hell. So, I mean, if a good running back coach get a hold of him, there's a lot of raw talent there. I just didn't see a lot of running back out of him. Chad Reagan, Chandler Rivers, cornerback out of Duke. Will his size hurt him being only 185 pounds? Not really. I didn't think he shined through this week, and he had an opportunity because D'Angelo Pons was supposed to be here, and he wasn't, and then Rivers was. So I do believe he had more of a shot to kind of distance himself. I didn't really hear anybody talk about the size because he's going to play exclusively out of the slot. I think Rivers falls somewhere in that late day 3 area, or late day 2 area, excuse me, and near the back end of 3. Who that fam? I agree with you. Monsoor Delane is QB, or is cornerback 1. Pinckney doesn't have Delane falling past Miami. I don't have him falling past the Cowboys, but that's only 1 pick behind Miami, so we're right there in lockstep. Workman was in reference to that Chandler Rivers question, said that he did well against bigger receivers this week, which did surprise me. Those were some of his better reps. That's Workman answering the question about Willis. Gary Burt said everyone undervalues guard until your offense can't function. I don't undervalue it. I mean, look, I'm very high on centers. Some people say you can't take a center in round 1. I think that's fucking moronic. Some people say you can't take guards in round 1. I think that's moronic. For what you need, if a guard's what you need, then go get a guard. And in this class, there's a bunch of really good ones. Keelan Rutledge is the one that I keep just circling going, I really like that kid. A lot of fire, really strong. Maybe not the most technically pure guy you've ever seen, but he's what I like out of my guards. Oh, we got the trading card guy, Jason Howarth. That's a new name. I thought Panini did a really good job as the sponsor of the Senior Bowl this year. Everything I heard was they will be back next year. I did miss having the Reese cups, but I did like Panini, and the gear looked really good too. It was always one of the drawbacks of me of the Senior Bowl is that you had like this weird orange and yellow and brown. But Panini did a great job. So thank you, Mr. Howarth. Workman, Mansour Delane's the corner in this draft that it just doesn't matter the scheme. He's going to be a dominant corner. I agree with you. Archie, who's safety 2? Emmanuel McNeil Warren or Dylan Theinman? For me, it's McNeil Warren. Caleb Downs is the clear 1. McNeil Warren is the clear 2 for me. And then it gets into kind of a hodgepodge at safety. Theinman's the one that everybody seems to know, but I really like A.J. Halsey from LSU. I wanted to like Jalen Kilgore. I love his tape. I didn't love him this week or this past week. Zakey Whitley was really chippy, really chirpy, but I've liked his tape as well. Kamari Ramsey didn't do much this week, which shocked me. I thought this was perfect for him. I hear a lot of people really in on Genesis Smith. I'm in like, not love. I'm probably a little lower than the industry. Michael Taffy was not as good this week as I thought he would be. Very nondescript. That is a hospital ball. Oh, my God. Oh, the old butcher had the chance to kill a running back right there, and he didn't take it. So, yes, Archie for me, Emmanuel McNeil Warren is clearly my 2. Stubby Nubby, how heavily do you weigh RAS versus tape and eye test? Is it a decent benchmark for later picks? So for me, RAS is 10% of the evaluation at most. There are a lot of 6'5" guys out there that can run reasonably fast. It doesn't mean they can play football worth a fuck. For me, RAS is almost more of a tiebreaker than it is anything. Because I want to see the tape. I want to see what you can do. And then if it comes down to I got one guy that's 6'2", 225 pounds, and I got another one that's 6'3", 235, and they ran similarly, I'll probably go with the bigger one. But that's about the extent of it. RAS to me is one of the most overrated things in the world. And if you don't believe me, go look at the some of the perfect 10s or high 9-9s that we've had that have just not been able to do shit. You're an athletic freak. You're not a football player. So thank you, Stubby Nubby, for the question. Appreciate that. Gary Birch said, show me a great offensive line without a great center. They're very rare. I've long said I think center's underappreciated. Offensive line's just really important. And it is hard to find good centers. It's one of the reasons that I had to get hecked onto the Dame Tucker again. I don't think that dude's motor hasn't turned off in 5 days. Just all freaking over the place. Archie, Burrow needs a twitchy yak wide receiver. Are there any names in the later rounds to look for? Oh, that's a good question. On twitchy yak receivers. I kind of like this kid from John Carroll. I didn't know jack shit about him until the week of Shrine. Well, that's not true. I had heard he had a good week at Hula or the American, whichever one of those he was at. I was not there. Then he comes to Shrine. He was really good. He's super, super fast. And for what you're talking about, I do kind of like that. That's super late roundsy though. I like Jacoby Lane. I think he got pushed down a little bit this week. Obviously, like Zachariah Branch, that's higher up there. When you get into the lower rounds, I do like if Aaron Anderson, if he can catch, his hands drive me freaking crazy. I just saw that Sycamore threw Tyron Montgomery in at 157. I started laughing. I like Cyrus Allen from Cincinnati. He can absolutely fly. Looking for yak guys. Kevin Coleman, depending on where he goes, I think he helped himself so much this week that you're going to see him up much higher than that. Cameron, same thing. I liked Vinny Anthony a little bit. Now we're getting into way later. Chris Hilton Jr. from LSU. All of those guys can be that. We're getting into a lot of projection now. But if you need a receiver, Gary Burt said Skylar Bell. Skylar Bell's more of a deep threat to me. But, I mean, he could do that too. He's also not a late round guy, though. Skylar Bell will go in the top 75. He was flying all over the place at Shrine. Workman said center's the line position where you either know you don't have a great one or you have a great one and you barely know his name. There are some good centers in this league that I would say a bunch of people don't know their names. Chad Reagan. I hope I said your name right because I can't tell if it's Reagan or Reagan. Is there anyone at the Senior Bowl no one was talking about that has helped their draft stock the most and shown out? I liked Deshaun Singleton a lot. He had the interception earlier in the game. I thought he helped himself a good amount. Let me pull up my notes from Senior and see if there was a name that I didn't hear from anybody else. Let's see. A guy that you didn't hear his name, Trey Zune, got hurt in day one, so you didn't hear much about him from there on out. And that didn't him getting hurt just didn't help him at all. Mike Washington, people started picking up on that later. We were on him pretty early. That's the running back from Arkansas. Jalen Stroman is a name I didn't hear. I didn't hear much, but I thought he had some nice reps. Jake Slaughter, the center from Florida, he solidified himself as my one this week. And I'm trying to give you the guys that I didn't hear a lot of people talking about. Ephesians Prysock, I thought really made himself some money this week, and I didn't hear anybody else talking about him. LT Overton, I think, heard me talking shit about him and then just kind of cranked it up in the last day and a half. because I wasn't wild about what I had seen from him. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about Malik Muhammad. Oh, they're putting up the come again? National Players of the Week voted on by players and coaches. Diego Pavia, get the fuck out of here. I'm just guessing you had to take a quarterback. McGowan, I agree with. Jordan Hudson, you're smoking crack. Jolie, I'm fine with. Dunker, I'm fine with. TJ Parker, you've lost your fucking mind. On a team that had Nadeem Tucker, get the fuck out of here. That's the stupidest thing I've seen in a long time. Diego Pavia. Oh, look, he's out of the pocket again. I'm stunned. Gary Burt said Bud Clark. I heard his name a lot. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump off there. I saw that and thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen. Jaden Ott, I think he made himself a good amount of money this week. Julian Neal, I didn't hear that name at all, and I really liked a lot of what I saw from him. Seth McGowan, yeah, he was on that list they just flashed up there. A lot of these. Colin Lacey, I didn't hear his name a lot. I liked a little bit from him. Guys that I didn't hear their name. I'll give you several guys that I heard their name and I didn't like what I saw from them. I'll give you a hint. One of them rhymes with Davidson Benison. Those are really the ones I'm saying that I didn't hear it. Bryson Eason from Tennessee. He was a late ad, and I liked a lot of what I saw from him. Charles Demings from Stephen F. Austin. I didn't hear his name much, but I did like a little bit from him. Cage Casey, I mean, you have to acknowledge that he's a guard because he's not going to play tackle. I heard a lot of people talk shit about him, and I actually thought he helped himself because when he kicked into guard, you started seeing he's got the bend to do this. So that's Jude Bowery. I didn't hear much about him at all. He's another one that he's going to kick inside the guard. Kalen Black from Indiana. I didn't hear much about any of these guys. Funny thing is I heard more about TJ Parker, who I thought just completely shot himself in the foot. Now I'm not sure. There we go. Archie said to piggyback on the RAS question, do you get into the analytics like breakout age production scores? It's funny you mentioned that. I don't think I've ever talked about that on the show before. I cannot stand guys that were mediocre when they were playing against guys the same age. Then they hit 22. This is really a much bigger deal now in the NIL age. When they break out at 25, it means virtually nothing to me. You're a grown man playing against kids. I don't care because you're going to go into the NFL and play against grown men and you're going to revert back to exactly what you were. C. Pickett, Kenny. So I actually do take something into the breakout age. I do put a little into RAS. I mean, because it does matter at the end of the day. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all. Who in the fuck is that? Donovan McCauley, I was there the entire week, and I never laid eyes on that kid. Huh. Didn't know that. Workman, did you even know he was here? Or did he get here today? Oh, God. Oh, God. Diego Pavia's leg just went about 3 different directions. That was not beautiful. But then again, neither's been anything he's fucking done this week. Chad Reagan asked Jaden Ott what happened to him. He was killing it. Cal fell off at Oklahoma. He just did not. He didn't do much at Oklahoma. He didn't fit the scheme. I loved him at Cal. I loved him this week. I think he was just a bad fit, and sometimes you have that. He just timed it really poorly because it was his last real shot to show teams what he could do. Now we're getting into guys that almost could not possibly have been here this week, because that's the second one that I've seen. You were not here this week. Who is that? He's not even on the fucking roster. Who the hell was that? There's a running back out of Tennessee. I don't know who that kid is. And he is nowhere to be found here. Star Thomas. Okay. It's two nifty little plays out of the backfield, but Star Thomas. Okay. Detroit fan man actually just answered it for me. He just showed up allegedly. McCauley was announced as a super late ad yesterday. Wonder who left. I do not actually have the list of guys that left. I know Colton Hood tapped out on Thursday. This is not me bitching. The Senior Bowl is really good to us. For the love of God, get us the rosters and get us a sheet of who fucking left. Because if I had $1 for every time that came up, I would have $100. Every day, just print out 1,000 of them. For the love of God, Computer Ink ain't that expensive. I need a list of who left. Because I know if I don't have it, neither does anybody else. And not all of us are PFF or ESPN or NFL Network who have researchers that are digging all of this shit out. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That irked the fuck out of me. Gary Burt said he assumed Micah Pettis would be a late ad. You're not the only one. I heard that name several times of when's he just going to randomly show up. I do think he gets drafted. Archie asked, who's your favorite short yardage goal line guy? I'm going to assume you're talking about running backs. Who is my favorite short yardage running back in this class? I have to be honest that I absolutely love Nick Singleton. Jonah Coleman's short and squatty. I love Mike Washington Jr. I've heard some good things about Terrion Stewart. I have not seen him up close and personal. I've seen the tape, and he's fine. I wasn't wild about him, but he's fine. Those probably that would be my initial set of answers. It's hard for me not to just say Mike Washington Jr. every time somebody asks, "Hey, what do you like at running back?" Mike Washington. It's always my answer. Reagan said, I believe he played at Duke before Tennessee. So I'm looking strictly at my profiles for this week, and I did not have anything on him. Detroit fan man, so you got this chat squad of reprehensibles, though. You good. We got you. And I appreciate that a lot. One of us. I appreciate you guys more than I can say. And you keep me honest, and you guys kind of do work as our researchers, because you'll ask questions on guys that we go, oh, fuck, did we miss one? And we appreciate that. The House of Reprehensibles doing the Lord's work. Gary Burt said you have Bill. It will be okay. Yeah, a lot of people commented on Bill of, damn, we don't have a guy like that. I know. And hands off mine. Because he's real important to the whole scenario here. Mark Phillips said, I heard a D3 school has the best receiver out there. That was Ty Carroll. Everybody's lost their shit about him. I heard, and I cannot remember now who it was. It was one of the podcasts I listened to. Said something about him going in the top 100, and they've lost their fucking mind. That kid's not going in the top 100. I think he has a catch in the game. He was really good in shorts. He's really, really fast. He put himself on the board. To say he's the best receiver out there, I can't get down with that. The best receiver out here was Ted Hurst. Malachi Fields was a very close too. He was the most unexpected receiver because none of us really knew who the hell he was. You know, he popped at Shrine after he popped at another one of the bowl games and then wound up here. So I will say he put himself on the map to be drafted, but the others were the best receivers here. John Carroll, also, oddly enough, it's the Montgomery kid. Oh. He's not talking about the Carroll kid. You're talking about shit. The hell's his first name? Yeah, it's Ty Montgomery. There's another one here. What that? Yeah, Ty Montgomery is the one that you're talking about from John Carroll. So John Carroll is the school name. Sorry, I may have fucked that up and said that backwards. There's another smaller school kid here that a lot of people lost their shit about, and I can't remember now what his name is. Devin Voisin. He was the South Alabama guy. That's who yeah. He was good too. I mean, do I think he's draftable? No, I don't. Lewis Bond from Boston College was also a nice little unexpected gem. But yeah, the one you're talking about is Tyron Montgomery from John Carroll. Very, very fast. My God, that kid's fast. Putting in work said Star Thomas played 2 years at Duke before 1 year at Tennessee. There is one Duke running back that I ever want to talk about, and his name is Jaquez Moore. You want to talk about somebody that's going to be on my all you ain't heard of this kid list? Him. Gary Burt said London Fletcher's alma mater is John Carroll. There are a handful of NFL head coaches that have gone to John Carroll as well. That was what was so weird about Ty Montgomery is that we saw the name and went, oh, fuck, is he coming to coach? I actually need to look up the list of John Carroll alumni. Because it's shocking how many of them were coaches. So John Carroll alumni. The only player on this list is London Fletcher. Don Shula, Nick Casario, Tom Telesco, Greg Roman, Josh McDaniels, Brandon Staley, and Tom Arth. They all went to John Carroll. Just shocking to see how many coaches come from one school. Bangus, Jeremy, where you at on Chandler Rivers? What round? I'll say third. He's one of those slot exclusives. We got a handful of those: Malik Muhammad, Chandler Rivers, and D'Angelo Pons. And then there are a handful more that are day three guys. But those are the three that I'm really high on. And I would say Montgomery goes first, then Pons probably goes over, but I like Rivers a little better than him, and then Pons. Pons kid out of Indiana. Workman had a really good point on the Montgomery kid. He was really good when they were in shorts and sweatpants. And then he got a little less. Now, he's also only played football for 2 freaking years. He was walk-on on the LSU basketball team. So I'm not railing on the kid by any stretch. What he put out there with who he is shocking. Oh, the Giant quarterback is in the ball game. Talon Greene. We have 15 minutes left in the Senior Bowl. Maybe the national team could score. It's hard to do when your quarterbacks are dog shit. Oh, here's Talon Greene doing it. Oh, my God, he jumped to throw that. And that right there, boys and girls, is what scares the shit out of me about Talon Greene. Run away, run away. Oh, fuck. Let's see. Archie, is Caden Proctor the leader for a guy who's going to blow up at the combine and go too high? I'll be honest with you. Proctor is one of those that for me, he's just a guard. He's not going to be anything more than guard. I don't see him as a tackle, and he could be. I do not love the tape on him. He showed up at Shrine. He didn't work out or anything like that. He didn't play in the game, nothing like that. But he did show up to talk to people, which I thought was really odd. If you're going to do that, you do it at Senior Bowl, not at Shrine Bowl. But what do I know? It's my first day. Gary Burt said Caden is an enigma. Very athletic, but he has slow feet. That is a good way to put that. Sorry, my video's gone down here. Thank you, NFL Network. I know that my feed has gone down. You just told me that. That one. I will say having an office that's dialed into your cell phone is really freaking convenient. Because when shit goes sideways, you just pull up your phone, which you always have with you. Okay, let's get to Chad Reagan said Jaquez Moore was supposed to have a good year, but he lost snaps to Nate Shepard and Anderson Castle. Yeah, I saw enough out of him. So I had a little burr in my bonnet about him very early on. He was actually one of the first players I commented on Twitter. I don't know what happened at Duke. I really don't know, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care all that much. Running backs are one position where Jaden Ott, perfect example. You get into a system where the coordinator, favors another guy, and you can get buried. Jaquez Moore is one that I just in a very limited period of time looked at him and went, "That's a draftable running back," because the vision is special. Gary Birch, was Don Shula any good? He didn't suck. Okay, we made it all the way through the chat. 2 hours and 12 minutes, 37 seconds. And that's how long it took for me to run out of chat questions. That is impressive, boys and girls. That is good work by the House of Reprehensibles. If you're just joining, my windscreen on my mic was a victim of Shrine or Senior, because it's disappeared somewhere. It's probably in a fucking shoe somewhere. Jostled loose in my suitcase, and now I'm going to find it in a dress shoe in about a month. Oh, I know exactly what they're about to do right here. They're showing the transformation of Cody Mauck. And now they're showing the transformation of Jennings Dunker. What is it about we big gingers who just get so white trash looking as we get older? I don't know what that is. It's common. It's common with us. It's the thing we do. $14.20 or $14.18 here to go, and Diego Pavia is back on the field for some. Oh, Seth McGowan. Meow. Fuck, I love that kid. When he sees a hole, he is shot out of a freaking cannon. I mean, he's got his shoulders completely turned the wrong way when that hole opens up. And he just absolutely fires himself out of a cannon. That is fantastic. A rare offensive play for our national team here in today's Panini Senior Bowl. Seth McGowan with another carry. Brother, sister, cousin Jennings Dunker getting a lot of love this week. That Dartmouth helmet is just so fucking odd. I think Dunker may have played himself into round one. If he didn't, he'll be very high in round two. Yeah, that rep right there at TJ Parker is a lot of what I saw of him. Just getting stood up by, oh yeah, I forgot he headbutted his own guy with that helmet on. Maybe calm down, Jennings. You're wearing a helmet. He's not. Calm the fuck down. I never did figure out who that was he headbutted. Oh, it's Jordan Hudson. Seth McGowan with another run. God, that kid's good. Oh, that was a catch. One-handed catch at that. McGowan was, nobody asked this question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. The player that I was not really crazy about, and I have one of these every year, that I've seen you, it's fine. Then I go back and watch the tape after I see you here and go, oh, sheep shit. McClellan, the defensive tackle from Missouri, he had a pretty good week. He's also got freakishly long arms. Clock winding, 11 minutes to go. Just trying to get out of this with no injuries. Who wins the game doesn't matter. Honestly, the game in and of itself doesn't matter all that much. Oh, bad drop for my guy there. I talked too much nice. I talked too many nice things about you. By the way, am I the only one that's still snowing at their house? Because it is still snowing at my freaking house. It has snowed all effing day. But it's that thin, powdery bullshit snow, so not overly worried about it. I'm going to heat up some chili. It's going to be a good day. Have a nice bowl of that sitting around the old fireplace tonight. Bill Workman said, still snowing in Greenville. Gary Bird said, snowing its ass off in Irmo. Oh, the kicker gets to show himself off for one of his rare opportunities today. What the fuck is happening? Why is there smoke coming out of that? I thought that damn frame was on fire. Oh, Stevens finally puts the national team on the board at 17-3 while we had a fire or some bullshit in the end zone. That was adorable. Okay. Boys and girls, there are 10 minutes left in this game that doesn't really mean jack shit. I think I have covered all of your questions. So I will say it's last call. Last call for queries, conundrums, anything of the like. I'm doing another show in an hour with a guy we met at the Senior Bowl, Raw Dog Sports, military veteran, all military veterans on the show. We'll share a link to that on the show page. I don't usually do that, but I just really fucking liked this guy. So we'll do that in about an hour. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if that show's live. Whenever you can consume it, we'll let you know on the social medias. I just realized that might not be live. Okay, well, I'm going to watch the last 10 minutes of this with a bowl of chili or something edible. Gary Bird's last question of the day asked who was pick 71. I really hope it's Ted Hurst. I hope Ted Hurst becomes a Washington Commander, and we can become best good friends. Thank all of you for tuning in for this live watch along of the Senior Bowl. And next week, Draftmas content like drinking from a fire hose. It'll all start coming out. I am not coming back to the studio until Thursday. I need to reacclimate myself to my house. But you will be able to see Tank Spencer and I Monday and Tuesday, noon Eastern time, live on the Sportsocracy as we are every day. Everybody have a good weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, all those good things. And we'll see you right back here on Monday at noon.